Good morning, Oakwood artist. It is Monday, August 31st, 2020. It's the final day of August, and it's our 89th day of making art together. Welcome back. Hope you had a fantastic weekend and enjoyed the wonderful, cool weather in comparison to last week. This week, as we near closer to our 100th day and final day of Sketching with Jennifer, this week we are looking at stories that inspire us. So I'm going to share stories this week, books this week that will that intrigue me, that really inspire me, and stories that have been with me for years and years and years. So today I'm just going to get us started in talking about the stories and the words that we connect with, that we read, the stories that stay in our minds, and even the memories have a really wonderful way of creating imagery for us. And we hold on to those images. And I think what a better way to combine spoken word or written word and art, and to give it space in the world, to put it out there in the world. That's really what art therapy is about, right? It's taking those feelings, those stories, those memories, and putting it to imagery and putting it out there. And so in art therapy, we know that. We know that it's a way of processing those feelings, those words, those stories that we have within us and that we experience and that we take in, and having a new way of communicating it. And I've done that throughout our series together of using story to express myself, to create images. And one of them was early on, and this was back in May. I was capturing, the word was loneliness that we were working with. So I used The Little Prince. So, of course, not my story, but when I thought of loneliness, I thought of him. And so, how important those stories from our life, those storybooks from our life are, and that we carry with us. I imagine that many of you have a story that you read as a child or as a teen that sticks with you. Another one of those that I've talked about is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and how important that story was to me as a teenager. And I even made art about it one day. I'm probably not going to find it in here. It was a twisted tree, twisted together for the main characters, Heathcliff and Catherine. And that story stuck with me so much that my first child was named Bronte, or is named Bronte, after Emily Bronte, because that story had so much meaning and power to me. Another story that inspires me is the work of Lewis Carroll in Alice in Wonderland. So I love to make art about Alice in Wonderland, and I think the reason why I love Alice in Wonderland is that everything is or everything isn't what it seems, and that is much like life sometimes. Life is a mystery, and life is complicated, and is a journey. And Alice in that story goes on that long, twisted, strange, upside down story where she's trying to find her way and help others along the way. So sometimes I bring that to the studio here at Tabor. And so here we made teacups. Here's my Alice in Wonderland teacup using Walt Disney's Alice in Wonderland and using a flower from, I recreated a flower from Disney's Alice in Wonderland. Used cards, because of course there are cards and hearts throughout the story. And I took this and printed this. It says, Alice thought the whole thing very absurd. It's kind of how I feel about life right now. It's pretty absurd. So stories connect us to where we're at in life right now, or where we want to be. Another one story that I'm really inspired by is Griffin and Sabine, An Extraordinary Correspondence by Nick Bantock. This was really popular about 15 years ago or 20 years ago. And it's just a really remarkable book. So often when I'm working with people, when I'm working with clients, I use this book as a guiding point for recreating our own story or writing our own story. So I just want to show you some of the pages. Here he's taken a map and cut it up, which is a really cool thing. One day I tried using maps around here at Oakwood, and people were not inspired to cut up maps and use maps. But this really could be a way to use a map, to use it as a collage and really as a background. So in this story, two people are corresponding, sending letters, and I love that idea of sending letters. Young generations today do not send letters. It's a very foreign, strange idea, and so they're losing the art of getting mail. They get email, they get text message, they get oh my gosh, they get Instagram posts, they get all like what they call Snapchats, they get snapped. Someone snaps them a photo and they respond with a photo. They have other means of communicating, but the art of writing, the art of handwriting is being very lost. So in this story, these two people, Griffin and Sabine, are corresponding through postcards and eventually letters. So you get to see you get to read their postcards back and forth to each other. Now, it's a fictional story, but it has beautiful artwork and this idea of these intimate letters and postcards that they send back and forth. I'll show you a few other pages because eventually you get to open letters and take out the letter and read it. And so it's very, very fun and very inviting and really looks at incorporating collage and story and personal moments here, taking art from throughout history. So different use of art. Nick Bantock is using so many art forms and so many layers of collage. So really wonderful way. So sometimes I have people do the same thing or similar thing through art. So here's one I started. Just a simple composition book and found some things that I found interesting. And right here I've got something that says, I dread Halloween. My house is always being toilet papered and plastered with eggs. How can I clean up quickly and easily? And then down here it says, so long, fashion police. Hello, regular police. And then there are 4 girls skating on ice here. I think they have ice skates on. And there are 4 sisters in my family. I have 3 sisters. And so I thought of us when I put them there. And I love Halloween. I don't dread Halloween at all, but I loved that idea of there are people out there that dread Halloween. And it also read like a editorial post to Ann Landers or something. How do I take care of this problem? Help me, please. And so then I start filling the book with envelopes and messages. I make little postcards out of index cards. This one, however, does not have those things, but I do want to share with you this image here of this woman. She's standing in a bathroom. Actually, she's standing in her shower. She's got a shower, and she has a wax crayon, and she's written all over it. And if you can see her arms and her hands, she's written all over her arms and hands as well. And so I want to read to you about her. It says, on any given morning, Alice Slattery, a neurologist at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, is writing at her computer by 4:30 a.m. During the day, she may also write on scrap paper, toilet paper, her surgical scrubs, and if nothing else is handy, on her own skin. Some of her best ideas come when she's in the shower, so she keeps a wax pencil there and writes on the walls. She also has a pen attached to her bicycle, just in case the muse hits her in mid-pedal stroke. So this woman loves to write and write down her ideas, and it almost in this image looks obsessive, and compulsive, that she can't stop writing and putting her thoughts out there. So I thought that was an extraordinary picture of just how many ideas she has and how she's got to keep writing them. So I love the idea of using words and stories that inspire us. Okay, so for today, I'd like you to think of a story that encourages you, that inspires you, and I'd love you to make a piece of art from it. Tomorrow, I'm going to do just that. One of the most profound books I've ever read that has impacted me, profound because it impacted me in such a way that I connected with it, with the roots of it, is John Steinbeck's Cannery Row. Now, did I grow up in that era of Cannery Row? Absolutely not. But there's something very true and gritty and real and raw about that book that just speaks to me in images. So I'm going to bring in Cannery Row. Read an excerpt from it. I'm going to draw a picture to go with it. As a kid, I was really inspired by this BBC program that would be aired on public television on PBS here in Wisconsin. And you may have seen it through the years where the person telling the story, sometimes Princess and the Pea, sometimes the Frog Prince, sometimes Hansel and Gretel, sometimes whatever, would draw in pastel, chalk pastel, as they told the story. And I thought that was remarkable that someone could tell a story and then bring it to life by these images. Not all the images, just some of them. Maybe making the frog prince, just a picture of his face. Making Hansel and Gretel walking through the woods, maybe making the witch's face, whatever that might be. So I'd like you to think about what stories throughout time have inspired you, or a book that you've read recently, or an article, whatever it might be, and draw an image to go with it. I'm going to use books this week that have inspired me in my life. You may know them, you may not know them, you may find them interesting, you may not find them interesting, but we'll be back. Oh, no, I'm not doing John Steinbeck tomorrow. I'm going to do John Steinbeck on Wednesday. Tomorrow I'm going to do a book called Flat Stanley. And I'm going to talk about the teachers that have inspired me throughout time, and often teachers that weren't even my teachers. So Flat Stanley has a big, important place in my heart and in my life, and I have never made a Flat Stanley, but tomorrow I'm going to make a Flat Stanley and talk about why. So I hope that you too will get inspired this week and pull out some of those books and journals and ideas and poems and writings that really intrigue you. Okay, have a fantastic day. I will see you back here tomorrow for the first day of school in most Wisconsin schools, or in most Wisconsin living rooms, I should say. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.